Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this morning's webinar. I'm Paulina, and this is Patrick.
Hello.
Hope you're well and having a good week. This week's webinar is all about staying organized and be more organized with Streamtime. It's a good topic to have.
It's a good topic. It makes sense given that Streamtime is a project management tool. We've designed it to be as simple as possible to keep people kind of as focused as possible and as creative as possible. And you don't really want, I mean, it happens, but you don't want to be kind of, I don't know, dragged down by all of the admin and chaos of work, which kind of happens naturally. So we're going to give you guys a few tips today, a few heads up, a few pointers on how you can use Streamtime to kind of help you stay on track and stay more organized with the work that you've got going on.
Exactly. And we will focus mainly on your to-do screen. Today's webinar is divided into a few sections. So we will start with Zapier integration and how you can actually integrate your calendar with your to-do screen and stay on top of those meetings or other events that's happening in your life. And we will then talk about the to-do sidebar, which is another tool that you can use to prioritize your tasks and plan your week ahead.
For sure. And it's really, really like handy to kind of know how that's working and what's happening in there, just so you can get the most out of it and to know what you really can do with it, which is cool. And the last thing that we'll kind of go through is just talking about planning your week and the idea of that, spending some time Monday morning to get everything out there ahead of the week before you start, just to kind of get into a rhythm. Nice to have that routine and looking at how that is going to make life easier down the track. Now, before we get going, bit of housekeeping.
Yep.
A few things as per usual. First of all, feel free to introduce yourself. Thanks for Delphi to already stepping up to the plate and doing that. What's your name? Where do you work? What do you do? We'd love to know. And we've also got a question there. We'd love to hear about, you know, from you guys, your tips in terms of staying organized. What do you currently do? Any tricks you employ to kind of do that, which is cool. So just let us know in that sidebar. We are running a couple of polls today as well, so feel free to jump into there. They're all kind of related to the three different sections we'll look at. We're interested to kind of hear about how much you might already know about these, if you do know anything, if you don't know anything, or if you know a little bit, just drop in there and vote in the poll. And finally, if you have any questions,
just use the ask a question button so we can prioritize them for you as well.
Exactly. So we'll come back to those ones at the end. Just drop them in there down the bottom.
Hi, Carl.
Hi, Carl. Nice to see you here. I'll be talking to you later on. And one other thing as well is related to this first area that we'll look at. We have got a button down the bottom here, allowing you to kind of jump straight through Zapier if you use set up that integration. So if you use it already, awesome. But if you don't and kind of want to learn more, just click on that link. And if you use Google Calendar, you can get things under the way with setting that one up. Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, Patty. Hi, Sophie. Nice to see you here again.
Lovely to see you here, guys. Thanks for joining us.
So we're going to start with talking a bit about Zapier and what Zapier can do for Streamtime. So if you don't know already, Zapier is like a middleman that connects your apps together.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, we're actually talking about integrating your calendar into the Streamtime. How you do that, Patty? So they either, as Patty mentioned, you can actually integrate it straight away if you haven't implemented that yet. Otherwise, there's integration page in your profile and settings where you can have a look at.
So it's a dedicated section, and you might not have noticed it yet because we did just kind of drop it in last week. This integrations part used to sit under your company settings, but as we've built a few more integrations, we've decided to give it its own special area in Streamtime. So come through to your profile and settings there in the sidebar, integrations, and here we can see this is where we can link everything up to Streamtime that we kind of can. And you'll see down here we have a few different apps that we might already use, and we can connect these with Zapier. And for example, we've got our calendar integration here for Google Calendar. Now just click that link to shoot straight through to there. You'll find that in your app if you do kind of lose it. But what happens in that process is that whenever you create a brand new calendar event, Google Calendar will just pick that one up. It'll send it through to Zapier, and then Zapier will send it to Streamtime. And it will do that as a personal to-do.
Yeah. Exactly. So what you see in here on this example is Patty's got a meeting at 2 o'clock. It looks like it's a Zapier integration with the calendar. So if you click on it, Patty, you can see that that's the personal task, but it is not. So what you can do, you can change it to your work task and assign it to a job, or keep it as personal if it is anything like doctor's appointment or any other personal task that you've got on your calendar.
Yeah, exactly. So by default, we'll treat that one as a personal task.
Yeah.
But knowing that it's really easy to be able to link that up to a job and then track time against it. For example, maybe this was a client meeting. It's important to understand where that time went on a job so that we know how much time we actually spent on that, as opposed to just letting that get lost amongst the haystack. But, as Paulina said, perhaps it's a doctor's appointment, and it's important for that to kind of just sit in my to-do list so that I know that there's 1 hour less today that I'll be able to work, and so that my team knows that as well.
Exactly.
So that's another advantage of having those calendar events pushed through to your to-do screen. It makes it really easy to get a true idea of where your time is actually spent today and what's actually happening in your life.
Yeah, very good. And Zapier, on the bright side, Zapier is actually free as well. So you can create your account and try out with integrating with Streamtime. So yeah.
Free. Why aren't you guys already doing it? It's crazy. It's crazy. So we talked about Google Calendar there, but there are other ways you can kind of integrate with Zapier. For example, if you use Office 365 Outlook, you can do that.
Yep.
You can also link it up with Slack. So if you start a message in Slack, you can kind of send it through to your to-do screen as a task as well, which is really another nice one. And you'll see that there in the integrations area if you do go digging for it, which is really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It does require minimum setup in Zapier as well. So all you have to do is just log in there and make sure that you set up Streamtime integrating with your calendar, for example, and you set some rules for Streamtime. How do you want Streamtime to react? So and as Patty said, once you've got a new event happen in your calendar, it will then talk to Streamtime with a personal task that you can always change to a work task.
Yeah, super easy, super good.
And free.
And free. Crazy.
We love Zapier.
We did have a mention from Helena just then. She just flagged that the sound might not be great. Just want to check in with you guys and make sure that you can hear us loud and clear. If anyone is experiencing any sound issues, it's all fine. Thank you, Hayley.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll just press on through then. I wonder if it's an internet connection. All G from Sophie. Okay,
awesome.
On my end. Well,
awesome.
You guys are flying through with these. Perfect. All right. Well, how about we push on?
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about next, Paul?
To-do sidebar. It's another way for you to stay organized. So for me, that's my favorite time of the day when I actually time of the week when I plan my week a bit more. So as you all know, that you see all your to-dos, all your tasks, the items that have been allocated under your name are on this My Items area, to-do sidebar.
And in case you can't see this, it might be hidden at the moment. So this little gray box up the top, you just need to click that and you'll be able to pop open that sidebar.
Yeah. So that's everything that you need to know and that's been assigned to you. So I understand it can be a bit overwhelming to look at it sometimes, so that's why we've created those little functions here for you to perhaps snooze your tasks to another day or even just snooze forever.
Cool. So in order to do that, you're just flipping over the card. There's that little options button in the top corner. And we have these two choices, snooze or complete. So a snooze gives us a choice to snooze it forever, a week before it's due, or a custom date. So that gives you guys a lot of control when it comes to cleaning up this sidebar and knowing when you might want to see something else again. We do kind of try and prioritize your work in this sidebar. We're looking at when things are due and the amount of work left to be done on them. We're trying to be quite smart in terms of how the things are listed here. But if something is showing up and it's kind of saying, well, I don't need to work on that this week, maybe, for example, this one's not due for 8 days. I might want to push that off here until at least tomorrow or a few days after that. I could go for a custom date here and say, okay, I want this to wake up on Friday. Now, the nice thing is when I do that, the item's not going anywhere. It's always going to sit here at the top under that snoozed folder. So you can always come in and find those really easily. So it's nice to kind of say snooze to help clean this sidebar up. But if you have got ongoing projects, for example, maybe this internal job here, this annual leave, it's probably a task that I don't use all the time, but it's really easy to, it's really, I don't know, maybe it needs to be in an easy place to find when I want to use it. So I could easily just snooze that one forever and know that it's going to sit in my snoozed items at the top here. So whenever I do have a holiday come through, I can just drop those into my to-do screen there.
Yeah, awesome feature. And if you don't already know, the way we prioritize your items here are based on the due date of that deadline of that item as well. So obviously the most important one for you to work on is the first item that sits on the top. And then we've got other priorities after that. Exactly. Yeah, so using that snooze button to clean up your sidebar, it's a great idea as well. Once those items are completed, so your part of the job has been completed, you can complete this by also clicking here and press complete.
For sure. And I can see that I've recently completed something here. So, which is really cool. Looks like we did go a bit over that, but I've recently completed it and it's kind of sitting there so I can easily come back to it. And if I need to, I can choose to keep working on it as well. Maybe I clicked that by accident. But when we do hit complete there, it's kind of important to know what happens in Streamtime because it's not just cleaning up your sidebar here, but it does have knock-on effects, but positive knock-on effects, because we would probably mark complete once you finished working on it, everything that you need to do on that. So obviously if there are 3 hours remaining on this, I'm probably still working on it, but maybe once we hit 0 and all that work's done, it's better getting marked as complete. I've done everything I need to. But it's important to know that on the job here, that item, once all the team members working on it have marked it as complete, the entire item is going to become complete. And when all the items on a job are complete, the entire job will be marked as complete.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't mind just going back to that, to our to-do, also very important to point out, Patty did briefly mention that, but the hours that's left on this item are also shown on your little to-do. So on this item box.
Exactly.
So it's 43 hours and 43 and a half hours left for this concept development. And if you actually spend 2 hours today, so we would maybe let's just
drop that one down.
Drop it down.
Spent some time on that this morning.
The time changes. So depends how people work on this concept task, and you can see that 2 of them, once they start tracking time, this number decreases.
It's being updated live, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it gives you an indication how long is left on this work.
That's really cool. So that's taking it from the remained, or the original amount of time that was planned, and taking off what's been tracked, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Another nice thing to know about this this sidebar is that we can actually search for items, jobs, and clients using that button at the top here. So if you have an item that you know, or a job, maybe you're not even working on it, but you just want to get to it really quickly, you could come in here and start searching for it. For example, I know that this job exists, delirium tremens. So I can search for it. Streamtime's going to pull up all of the items on that job, not necessarily the ones that I might have been working on, which is really cool. So you can kind of get those in your hands really easily and just pick them up and drop them onto your to-do list.
Yeah, exactly.
So just clicking into that top section there to start searching to make life easier.
Exactly. You can always create your new tasks by adding new to your day. So, and the latest feature that we actually added is you can create a task for someone else in your team as well,
really cool.
Which is really, really cool. So, yeah, you can go into Andy, for example, and add him a task to work on Aaron's hat design. Why not?
You take a look at this. Thanks. And I'm going to give Andy just maybe 30 minutes there to take a look at that one, half an hour. Perfect, knowing that that's getting sent over to his to-do list for the day.
Perfect.
There you go, sitting at the top there. Lovely.
Yep. And obviously you can always have a look and see what has been done. for yourself. So by dragging that black line up or down, you can actually it shows you what tasks have been completed for this week for yourself, or what needs to be done still. So that's another way to see what happened.
Yeah, for sure. Nice. A lot of people don't actually realize that if you do pull this black bar down and squash those boxes at the bottom, those tasks, you get a summary of the day. So sometimes people will ask, I need to know just quickly how many hours I worked on Monday. You can easily find out just by pulling that black line down and squashing those boxes together. And obviously the same goes for those to do. We can get that quick summary there, which is nice.
Yeah. And what is the arrow pointing down? What does it do, Paddy?
This one?
Yeah.
So that just allows us to track our time really quickly. So obviously tomorrow hasn't happened yet, so I can't really track my time, but for the sake of example, I'll click that button there to just show you that we can really easily drop all those tasks down to done just by clicking that button. So for example, at the end of the day, some people like to work throughout the day, keeping their tasks above the line to do, to indicate what needs to get done and making changes to that plan as the day is going. And then at the end of the day, just dropping everything below the line to done, which is a really quick and easy way to get tracked, which is really nice because we understand that tracking time is one of the most painful ever. So we're trying to kind of reduce the pain when it comes to that.
Make it fun.
Turn it into a single click, easy, done.
Cool. Exactly.
Section number 3.
Yeah, section number 3.
Andy's asking for some more time on that task.
We'll think about it.
Sure thing, Andy.
No, don't.
Yeah.
And you just had a holiday, so you can.
And he's got 3 more hours to work on that one now. You're welcome.
All right. So planning your week in advance. So how are you currently planning your week, Paddy? For example, my to-do screen is very full on. So I've got lots of different tasks going on, and I have to search, I have to scroll. And what I do personally, I actually spend a good hour, maybe half an hour on Monday morning to plan my week ahead and to drag those items to my day. And perhaps, I've got my meetings that have been integrated with Zapier from my calendar, and it's all happening. But I would spend an hour max to clean up my to-do and actually allocate some time for each day to make sure that I'm on top of my project. Is that how you work, Paddy?
Yeah, I tend to, first of all, I have lots of meetings with clients. So already a lot of those are getting pushed through to my calendar automatically with my my Google Calendar integration. So I'll spend a bit of time going through those, making sure they're assigned to the right jobs. But then also making sure I've got some time each day to work on some other projects or to, speak to customers who might need a hand with something. So I set a general plan, and a really easy way to do that, especially if I am doing something like spending time, in the inbox, responding to some messages. It's really easy to kind of get that set across each day by coming in Monday morning and duplicating those tasks. So we did ask if anyone knew how you can duplicate a to-do. Looks like a couple of you said yes, a couple of you said no. So you can really easily duplicate a task in your to-do screen just by holding down Alt on the keyboard and picking one up and dragging it to another day. So you're just making a copy of that, still assigned to the same job, assigned to the same amount of time. Obviously, you can then change that. But that's a really quick and easy way if you have got a repeated task over a few days to get that one out there, which is really nice. But we're really interested in planning the week ahead because spending a bit of time investing in that early, it means that we've got a plan to then stick to. And it means that we know exactly what we need to work on. We can kind of stay focused. And we also have some onus to kind of make time for the things that we might need to do. Like, for example, make sure I'm getting an hour of lunch each day rather than a 20-minute scramble at my desk sort of thing. So by kind of blocking out that time, I'm also letting my team know that there's an hour less in that day that I'll be able to work because I'm taking that hour for lunch, and that's fine. And that's kind of standing up and having that autonomy for yourself to do that, which is really cool. Something we're really interested in bringing to the fore in Streamtime.
Yeah.
But as you kind of said before, Paulina, spending a bit of time getting that plan up and then just knowing that it's so easy to track that time means that you know those timesheets are getting done on time and that they're getting done according to plan, essentially. And what that results in is better data for the business that you're working for, is they're understanding where the time's going. And time is such an important resource.
Exactly. And you're more organized as well. So you can even add notes that you can communicate to the team what you're working on, or even the time of an event, for example. So I'm a big organizer. I like to schedule my day very in detail. So I would even click on this concept development and maybe at a time frame or when I want to work on it. So maybe 9:30 till 11:30, anything like that. So I know in my head that this is the time I'm focusing on this task. But obviously everybody is different. So it's totally up to you how you want to look at your in this way.
And some people like to organize these tasks in a way that is really easy to look at and they know what they've got to do next. The way we've designed it allows you to, read tasks in any way, shape or form that you like, but lots of people like to work from that bottom up, use the yellow. Obviously it's a pretty strong color to kind of stand out and know that that's the most immediate task they're working on. So having some sort of system when it comes to ordering those tasks is a nice little trick other people use too.
Yeah, and even thinking ahead is please try and actually set yourself up for successful next week. So if you on Friday, for example, you haven't had enough time to complete this backend development task, you can always move it to the next day. So it will appear on next week. So when it comes Monday next week and you start planning this is the task you've added to that week, so you can plan and prioritize it a bit more as well.
Exactly.
So
if I didn't get to it today, you can just come in and say, okay, well, I'm going to get that done on Monday. Just change the date and it'll just push through to Monday next week.
Yeah.
Cool. I can see I've already got a few tasks planned there, which is good. Staying organized.
Very good, buddy. Very, very.
So easy. Cool. Easy. Well, I think that kind of brings us to a bit of a head in terms of what we wanted to talk about with you guys. Yeah. If you do have some questions, just send them through into the Ask a Question button down the bottom and we can talk things through there. They might be related to the to-do screen and how you stay organized. If you have any questions on specific functionality in Streamtime, then obviously that's cool as well.
Yeah, we are very interested to know how you currently getting organized in Streamtime too. Maybe something that we don't know. So we're always happy to hear your suggestions on anything.
Yeah, and it's cool to see that some of you look like you don't use the Zapier integration with Streamtime yet, which is good. So hopefully you've got that to take away from today's session, which is really cool. And it looks like some people use that to do Sidebar. So hopefully trying to, hero that, I suppose, and get more use out of it. Understanding to your advantage, I suppose, is really cool. So taking advantage of things like the Snooze, keeping it tidy and making sure that there's just crucial information for that to be working properly, like a due date, which is really important because when Streamtime's giving you that items list, it's looking at when things are due. So if you're not telling us when it's due, then it's really hard to know what to put up the top there. Yeah,
exactly. And you've noticed that we kind of list Monday to Friday days in here, so the normal standard working days. But what I actually figured out yesterday, Patty, you can add quickly your Saturday or Sunday if there's you have to spend an hour on a Saturday, which we don't really recommend, but it happens, But no, actually, you can change it in here from your to-do. Yeah. So click on the concept development for me, and you can change the day to Saturday. Save, and Saturday appears in here as well. Didn't you know that?
I did not know you could do that. There you go.
Here we go. So your next day of work will appear on your to-do.
Yeah, hopefully we're not working Saturdays, but
don't work Saturdays.
If you do, there's a nice trick to get it done. Well, I didn't know you could do that. That's really cool. Well, we might wrap things up there. We are getting close to 30 minutes if there aren't any questions. But if anyone does have anything, shoot us a message here or help@streamtime.net, or of course, just in the help button in the menu there. And we can get back to you.
Exactly.
We can always talk to you one-on-one. Great.
Cool. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great Wednesday.